So it is funny finding product market fit. It is like even the sign is like its own thing to find product market fit. Like our first sign was just horrible. The wind would come and it would knock it over. Our next sign wasn't waterproof. There's so many like little
We
things.
would get them stolen, so
We,
we eventually got a bike lock and
yeah,
now chained
one
it to trees and
yeah,
stuff.
instead of it falling over, we'd get ones where you could fill the bottom with sand. Then instructions on the sign, like there's so many iterations of like the website. Even the website was lineleadtickets.com. So it's like 15 letters, which like was way too long. The whole thing was about speed, how can we get them because they're waiting if the line moves and they're not going to want to buy it. So we need to get them to the checkout page. If they're interested, we can start walking them up. That way they're like already like, okay, I'm going to do this. And then we started giving business cards to people in the line that had the instructions because we started noticing like a lot of people were like not interested, but then they'd like start thinking about it. So like if they had the card, then like they're just like sitting there and they're looking at the card and they're like, I might as well like go to the website and see what it is. And then they're still not moving. And then, yeah, I'd say the biggest thing though is we just talked to like tens of thousands of customers, honestly, like 1,000. We talked to like 1,000 customers every busy day.
Mhm.
And then we did that for like
It's still, I
years.
mean, it happened for literally years, and we'll still during launches talk to customers. I mean, I would say that we've probably each talked to 50,000 plus people. I mean, maybe like 100. So, I mean, it's a lot of understanding, like
Yeah,
why people do it and why people
and
don't do it.
it's not that part isn't that fun. Like one guy I think misunderstood what we were saying. Like I remember I was wearing a hat, he knocked the hat off my head and was like, what are you doing? And I'm like, whoa, it's just an option. You don't want to do it, you don't have to. Like Ohio State was probably the worst. Like, and I'm not just saying that because we're Michigan grads. They're like,
People are mean.
people were really mean to us. Like, it was funny too, because so we were really hungry and trying to get this off the ground. People were so mean to it about just like, oh, how much you getting paid like an hour to stand out here, you loser. Like all this stuff, just totally unnecessary. And so yeah, but we were learning a lot like throughout that process. Once it got off the ground, like it changed a lot because people knew about it. But the first year, 2 years of business, I would say so the goal is to get like 10% of people if we can when the line gets really long. But like honestly, it's probably more like 2%. Like we really
Yeah.
at the beginning, I'm trying to think about W, for example, we would sell like 3 passes a
Yeah.
weekend.
Yeah.
Like
And staffing wise too, like I would say that we'd try to get maybe two people out at a busy bar, but I mean a lot of the time the first year or two, it really was a lot of just us. Like Max would work the lines at Wisconsin, we would try to work the lines at Rick's,
yeah.
and for Penn State big game day weekends, we would just drive there and do it ourselves. And we tried to hire reps, but we just didn't
Yeah.
have a good
And
system at all.
those drive, like we would be driving to Penn State from Ann Arbor. We'd get out of class, we'd drive to Penn State, we'd start to see the orders coming in, and we would be freaking out. Like,
Yeah.
well, obviously we're excited, but also we don't really know our business that well yet. And like we know people are going to be coming to the door and all that.
So the first big game day at Penn State, we had one rep at Penn State, and as we're 2 hours out from Penn State, maybe it's like 5 p.m., our orders are going crazy. So even by 5 p.m., it's probably our best day of sales by far we've ever had in company history. Yeah. And
we had probably done a combined like $5,000 in sales.
Yeah.
And we had done $5,000 in sales in like the last hour.
Yeah. And so we're
freaking out.
We're calling this Penn State rep and we're like, are you there? And he finally picks up and he's like, yeah, my parents are visiting this weekend. Like, I'm at Target right now. And we're like, dude, like, please go to the bar. Please.
Like a year of work culminating in this moment. And
we're like, this is like what we're paying you for. Like, please.
Yeah.
And I don't even know if we ended up going, but when we got there, we were like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
And also realized that we probably lost out on like tens of thousands of dollars.
Yeah, or at least, yeah. And then the venue, thankfully, I think a big piece that was a good buffer for us was like we always tried to spend so much time with the venue owners that like even in that instance, the venue owner like wasn't that happy, but like we're here, we're gonna be here all weekend. Like he didn't turn it off. And the sales piece too, like once we started making extra money, then it was nice because it wasn't just like us relying on people being nice to us. Like it was good for their business, basically.